Welcome to the Nicole Small Show, where we give you straight talk with no chaser. Here, we discuss issues from the White House to your house. And now, here's your host, Nicole Small.
Good morning and welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Today we are going to talk about is corruption leading the city, and actually not just this city but several other cities. Is that the characteristic that is needed to actually be elected and to stay into office? Because that's what it seems like. Before that, I just want to remind everyone today from 2 to 5 p.m. we will be doing phone banking at our office, a campaign office at 19600 West McNichols. That is 3 blocks before Evergreen. Again, 19600 West McNichols. We will be phone banking for both Anthony Adams and my campaign, Nicole Small campaign. And tomorrow we will be phone banking at both Anthony Adams' office on Livernois and my campaign office again in 19600 West McNichols. So please make sure you participate. We'll have sheets for those of you who don't want to do virtual phone banking. And also you can phone bank from home. You could come and pick up a sheet or two. And we really need your help in order to pull this off. A lot of absentee ballots went out this weekend. We need to make sure that we capture these voters both on the doors and through phone banking. So please, 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 even if you could just donate an hour of your time, 2 hours, we're going to make sure we feed you and everything. But please, we need you to help us phone bank. Thank you so much. If you want to know more about phone banking, how to get your sheets, you can call 313-410-7874, 313-410-7874. And so again, we're going to talk about what's going on with this corruption in politics. So as you know, let's take a look at the city of let's take a look at the city of Inkster. Let's take a look at Representative Joel Jones. So there's a lot of controversy around his current status. So he violated probation. A lot of us know he has been having some challenges with substance abuse for quite some time. And let me tell you where I'm at it. I'm not here to make any excuses, because see, at the end of the day, if somebody dies from this type of behavior, continuously getting behind the wheel, intoxicated with alcohol or high or whatever is going on, then we're going to have a different conversation. We're going to have a different conversation. And the part that bothers me is that you have an elected official and a lot of people are sitting around and watching him self-destruct. And so instead of having tough love, like they always want to give me tough love about, again, being so angry is what they say. I don't see all of these same people on Facebook. Well, she's good. Don't throw her out or anything. You know, it's tear the meat off of her bones, but that's all right, because I'm not just a pitcher. I can catch. But this is all that I hear about Joel Jones. You have a young man that instead of stopping him from running for re-election and telling him to go and get some help, people rally around him and make up all of these excuses talking about, well, when I was young, I did a lot of things. Well, when you were young, were you out here jeopardizing people's lives? Maybe you were. I wasn't. I'm just being honest with you. And I would hope that somebody would get me some help. And you're going to continue to put him on the front line while you know that he has a problem and he's a young black man, instead of making him sit down and get some help. I don't understand it. How do you care about somebody and you continually support this type of behavior? You know what he's going to do to him. You know what they're going to do to him. You already know. But this is tolerated, accepted, and enabled, especially in our community, right? But we don't want to say nothing about that. And I'm not saying nobody has not had that tough conversation with him. But all of this stuff on Facebook about, nobody is saying what needs to be said. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. We talking about somebody's life at stake, and continuing to keep him out here is going to be the ruination of this young man when it comes to if he wants to have a political future. And that's okay. People think that that's the way that you support somebody. That's not good support. He's highly intoxicated driving. And this isn't the first time. It's not just the second time. So we're going to act like that's not an issue and continue to leave him out here in the public, in the limelight, and don't start that mess with me about you. And he guilty of that. He's guilty of that. And he's a young black man. We're going to continue to keep letting him being dragged in front of the media, knowing that he's elected up there in Lansing. What kind of work you really getting done? But see, that warrants from the majority of our community protections and being enabled. But when it comes to people who are fighting for justice, you want to have a lot of negative things to say. You want them to be quiet, but you don't want him to stop drinking or to stop indulging in his behavior, which could kill him or somebody else. Like, do you care about his quality of life? Do you? Really? I'm confused. What about his parents? Do you think they want to see this happening to their son? He don't need your pat on the back right now. He needs some help. And this is not helping him. He sits up on the TV, on the stand with his sunglasses, putting his sunglasses on while they're talking to him. You know, all type of mess. But you're going to create another one. You're going to create another one. And then that's going to be okay. Right? That's going to be okay. But for those of us who are out here challenging the status quo, it just about turns your stomach, and you don't want to have anything to do with that. That's the behavior that you publicly will say needs to change. But you will never say that this type of behavior needs to change. People are paying tax dollars to these elected officials. To do what? Violate the law? And that's okay. That's okay, right? We need to think about how we got here. Now let's move on over to the city of Detroit. Because what's going on with Joel Jones is different than what's going on in the city of Detroit. I really do believe he needs some help. And I think that a lot of the people around him are doing him a disservice. And this whole tangent people going off on Facebook, you know, it just turns my, I wouldn't want anybody to do that to my son. And I'm not saying tear him apart, but you enabling this type of behavior, which probably makes him think everybody loves me and I can continue to do it. And we know what the system is going to do to him. We know exactly what this system is going to do to him. We know what he's doing to himself. You couldn't really give a damn about him. You couldn't. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. Get him some help before he becomes another type of news story. He's too young for that. To ruin his whole future. Sometimes I wonder if that's what y'all want. Now, moving on to city politics. So I'm going to break this down for y'all again. Gabe Leland resigned without any apology to Detroiters. Think about that. His resignation said it's with a heavy heart that he will not be returning to run for re-election. Not, I'm sorry for abusing your tax dollars and violating your trust, you know, by taking a bribe for a vote. No. It's with a heavy heart that he is not going to run for re-election. Right? We just let that slide. Not one council person said anything about how there needs to be a motion to at least suspend his privileges. Don't forget that. Now we're going to mosey on down to finding out that we have another Another person of interest, Councilman Spivey, who's been working with the feds for 15 months. 15 months, y'all, over a year. He's been working with the feds. And then he thinks that everything is good because if I'm not mistaken, didn't he already begin paying back some of the money that was in question about taking a bribe, blah, blah, blah. And must have been other cooperation. Well, however, whatever, it seems like the feds were not satisfied with that and they wanted some more information. So then next thing you know, after that story comes out, it was only a matter of what, 2 weeks later or something. Now we have 2 more councilmen in their homes, in their offices, and the chief of staff homes and offices were raided. So 4 not coming back. And out of that 4, one of them is Andre Spivey, right? Then you have another 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 people in an entanglement with the FBI. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Then plus you have 6 people right now at the table between the 3 councilmen and their 3 chief of staffs who are all gonna have or have been having, I'm quite sure, I don't know, conversations with the FBI about a form of corruption. That's just the bottom line. I don't think that the feds raided their homes and their offices to see, like, how did you become such a great leader and such a saint of the city? I don't think that that was the conversation. And so no one has been proven guilty. Well, Andre's been cooperating, so obviously that's like fessing up to doing something. But the other 2, no. Councilwoman Ayers nor Councilman Spivey has been proven charged with anything. But let me talk about what they're guilty of. You're guilty of disrespect to the citizens of Detroit. They're both guilty of dismissing the needs and the interests of citizens of Detroit. They are guilty of putting corporate interests as a top priority and dismissing Detroiters and acting as if they are disposable. You are guilty of insubordination to your employer, is what that is called. You are insubordinate to your employer because we employ you. Now, what I need to ask Detroiters, why does it take for some of these people to have a conversation with the feds for people to reconsider whether or not they should be leaders, when that's not what you hired them to do? These corporations whose interests that they're serving did not elect them. Mike Duggan probably didn't even vote for them. Let's just be honest. But he made sure he got them some votes because I guess he is here on election day. I can't take that away from him. They do show him on the news for election day. So I'm gonna tell the truth. So I'm not gonna take that away from him. He is here on election day. Now the rest of the time, unless he ribbon cutting, I don't know. But I want you to think about that. Why do we tolerate so much? And is this what you want in a leader? You want someone who shows you exactly who they are, who disrespects you, and they really have zero intentions on changing because they both knew that they were in trouble. All 3, even Andre Spivey. He voted for that $1 billion to go everywhere else except for to directly to the people. He voted that way too. And think about it. Don't you find it questionable that they all voted to approve the CFO to have control over those ARPA funds because we only received half? Any future American Rescue Plan dollars do not require approval from the city council. That's all on the CFO. Whoever would have thought, who gives up their power like that? Something is wrong. Something is wrong. But are these the standards that we have for leadership? The fact that neither one of them are afraid to run again and could possibly be reelected. How dangerous is that? And what does that say about our community and the voters in the city of Detroit? people want to talk about those commercials they ran on Proposal P. I had somebody to ask me, well, what about when, all of the cussing and fighting at the Charter Commission? I said, well, who was cussing? Well, the cussing that was going on. I said, who was cussing? I said, I know I wasn't cussing. I said, and to be honest with you, even though I didn't get along with some of my colleagues, I said, I don't recall anybody cuss. I said, oh, that's because that's what they showed you on the news. But I never hear anybody talking about this level of corruption at the city council level. But you want to talk about Proposal P and how they manipulated you into believing that the people who were fighting, and it wasn't physical, the people who were literally fighting for your best interests and for democracy and justice, you want to question, well, how will these people change their behavior? But you're not worried about the people who you've been supporting changing their behavior. Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. So what are our standards for this election year is what I want to know. Before we get to that, let's take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Nicole.
Hey, Kenny. How you doing?
Good morning. Hey, go ahead, but I think you snuck my notes out of my house because they said I agree, and I was going to say about these folks in here. These in the city of Detroit is tenderized. These black folks is tenderized. That's the problem with them. They all tenderized, Duggan and tenderized all these folks.
That's true.
And that's why they act like they do. And that's the word that I have to use. They tenderize because now I just got on Facebook and I just wrote on there, all these God-loving people and trying to be Christians and whatever else get on Facebook and talk about each other and won't come together and wonder why we don't win in the city of Detroit. It's so sad. They'll talk about you, but like you said, but then they won't say nothing about this corruption. They'll sit up here talking about voting for Janae and Benson and all them again after they put on the people next in the city of Detroit. I think black folks like to put on their neck. I think that's the only way they feel they function in Detroit because they won't get off their behind and vote. And I'm talking about young, old. We got some old that won't vote. Come on in, talking about why waste the vote, why waste this and that. It's sad that we like that. We tenderize and Duggan keep doing the same thing. I seen him up there in the news yesterday.
Me too.
With a little tight jacket on thing. And he might well be laughing at us in the city of Detroit. Because the stuff he's doing, the people sit up here and accept it. And I'm going through the neighborhood and seeing that they got Duggan signs and they're young. And this neighborhood is terrible. The streets are terrible. And I'm looking, I'm like, I told my wife, what have they done? They ain't done a darn thing. So you hitting the nail on the head this morning, Nicole. And these tenderizers don't toughen up, you know what I'm saying? And get
they need to.
And get these crowds to office and help. And another thing, one more thing, these people that's running is so separated from each other. Instead of coming together, they like they going at each other and things. I don't understand that. We trying to get Duggan and the city council out, and these people know they don't have enough money to beat Duggan by themselves. We need a new mayor, a new city council. Why not come together and work together? I don't understand them. Everybody want to do their own thing and then wonder why the hell they ain't win. That's my comment, Nicole, and I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna continue to listen to you.
Thank you.
Taking my call.
Thank you so much. Well, if we divided in the beginning, more than likely we'd be divided on council, and that is a great point. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't. I thought that we had some conversations prior to the approval of the ballot in the community, and I'm getting a lot of complaints about this. About number one, there not being a slate. Number two, the degrees of separation between candidates right now. And I hear you. There needs to be some decisions. You know, if you say that you are not aligned with the system that is in place and with this administration and the way that it is going and the past pattern, the pattern of behavior, I don't know how people think that operating independently, I think that we all should be independent. So let me say this to Kenny's point, the opposition always, they work together. They just do. Duggan makes sure that his people are working together. However, whatever. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for the reasoning for these degrees of separation. It is a little concerning. I can't fight that fight on my own. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. I said this yesterday, how we don't learn from our experiences. It's not necessarily just our mistakes, but it seems that we don't really learn from our experiences. And what we have experienced over and over and over again is that we don't have the resources to win independently. That has been our experience. That has been proven. Not against this type of machine, because the machine, you have to think about what is the fuel in the machine. It's our level of ignorance and lack of knowledge to what's really going on. What fuels this machine is us being segregated and separated, but more importantly, is not being aligned with what the messaging and the outcomes are, what our goals are. And I thought that the goal was to make sure that we get as many people in new leadership that have an aligned vision to make sure that we can make some changes in this city. You already know how many other people that we have that oppose us even trying to do this. So I don't know. I know that I've been getting that question a lot. And, you know, I know that those of you who support us are really stretched thin, which is why I thought that there was going to be more unity, especially in a general election. But it is what it is. And you have to respect people. Like when you're raising money and you're trying to organize a team to make sure that things are on the right track, you have the right to run your campaign however you want to. That's one thing I am going to say. So that's why I don't get upset about it. It just bothers me because I think that it's a negative. It has more of a negative impact on those of you who are supporting us. You're being pulled in a lot of different directions. I see it. And I know that the opposition sees it, right? And they're banking on you being worn down. They're banking on you not pulling any of this off. Because of that, they've identified our strengths and our weaknesses. I just wish that we could. And then recalibrate and get on the right track. You know, if this is really about anybody but Duggan, then our decisions and our behavior should be reflective of anybody but Duggan. Like who stands the greatest chance of winning, right? If this is about having a council that will activate their power for the greater good of the people or to empower the people, right? Because the power, I keep telling you, lies within the people. If that's what this is about, then things should be going differently. But we'll see what happens. Let's take another caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning, Nicole. This is Reginald Amos.
Oh, good morning, Reggie. How are you?
LLC. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Hey, look, I just want to speak on the issue of corruption, bribery, conspiracy. If corruption, bribery, conspiracy, if that's the smoking gun in Detroit, as it is right now, of our sitting council members, then how is it that Mary Waters is so-called in the lead for council at large? Now, if you go to the FBI file, Detroit Division, in 2010, her and Sam Riddle pled guilty to corruption, conspiracy, and related charges. And that was in May. In October, they were sentenced. So here again, what my point is, we look like fools, some of us, if we're complaining about the sitting council number, and then we turn around and put Mary Waters on council at large.
Now she didn't go to jail. But Mary didn't go to jail.
No, she didn't go to jail. She was on probation for her part in the Southfield bribery scandal of a council member, William Lattimore. Okay, she had to return a $6,000 watch that she was given for her part in the scandal. Okay, and then, like I said, she was found guilty of one count of filing fraudulent tax returns. So here again, what is the problem? I mean, why are, like I say, I'm listening to radio talk hosts, I'm listening to community advocates, I've heard so-called community leaders, and I know they know Mary Waters' history in these issues that I just mentioned. So again, how is it that we're saying it's okay?
So
we're acting like it's okay.
So here's the thing. You have to remember, Mary was she was elected after that incident to the Charter Commission. So I think the standard was set there. I don't think that, I don't know if people really care. Either they don't know, I don't know if it's a big issue to Detroiters. Like, and I don't know anything about the tax situation. But regarding when she pled guilty, she's just been around and people have seen her. I don't know if they consider that to be the same thing. That's the part, Reggie. I don't know if they consider that to be as big of an issue as what's going on with Janae and Scott.
Okay, so let me say this. Bribery is bribery. And according to Andy Arena and Barbara McQuaid, of course, we know Andy Arena was the director of the Detroit branch of FBI. We also know Barbara McQuaid was U.S. attorney. And so, like Andrew Arena said, plain and simple, Mary Waters and Sam Riddle conspired to buy William Lattimore's Southfield Council vote. And then, like I said, when you look at the sentencing and what she pled guilty to, hey, I mean, it's the same thing. And nobody should be trying to provide cover for Mary Waters. And please, nobody calling here talking about Mary Waters picked cotton. That has not a damn thing to do with what we're faced with today.
I haven't heard that one, the Mary Waters picked cotton. I haven't. That's a new one.
Really?
No, I haven't heard anybody use that excuse. But again, what do you say? I get the fact that she was elected to the Charter Commission. The fact that she was elected to the Charter Commission, and Detroiters said yes after knowing that, they could possibly say yes again. And I mean, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Detroit doesn't have the highest, standards for anyone. I mean, you have people going around saying that, well, Janae and Scott haven't been charged with anything. Well, my thing is they should have been charged by the people long ago. See, that's the problem. Why do we always wait for, the feds to come in when we see what's going on right before our eyes? They took an oath to serve the interest of the people, and they have failed to do it over and over again, right? So if they don't care about that, I mean, my goodness, Gabe Leland was on tape taking a bribe. I don't know if they care too much about Mary Waters. I don't. I don't, because it's, you know, the first they're gonna tell you how long ago it was. You already know that. I don't know if Detroiters care. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think they're gonna look, a lot of them are gonna look past it. I don't know if you're gonna get too many people to say anything. One thing I will say is that it has definitely probably put her in a compromising situation to where she hasn't, she's probably not going to speak on the level of corruption for the city. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I think that that's questionable too, because if you don't speak to what's going on, then people are going to question, what are you going to do if elected? Now, for me, that's the conversation. So this happened 10 years ago. She knows what people are thinking. She probably should come out and say something about it, but maybe her team doesn't think that that's the best in her best interest, though.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is a hell of a situation that she's in, and like I say, she should just step on out of the race, period, because again, you're running for office. We have a major issue here
She ain't stepping down.
of bribery, corruption, and conspiracy. How can you speak on it when you were found guilty and you pled guilty to the charges, the same type of charges?
Well, they probably gonna act like it didn't happen. That's usually what they'll do. Listen.
All you have to do, as I said before, go to the FBI, put in your search box, FBI, Detroit Division, Samuel Riddle Jr., Mary Waters, and the articles will come up giving full detail of what they were charged with and what they pled guilty to and the sentence.
Okay. All right, Reggie.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Take care, and everybody, let me say this, Nicole. Detroiters United LLC highly encourage everyone to plunk vote for Nicole Small, Council of Life. If you don't know what plunk voting is, it's simply vote for Nicole Small. You guys know Holman Young and Mary Waters are not built to push back against Duggan, his machine, or anyone like Duggan. They are more like sitting on the bench in the basketball team, in the basketball game. Coach, can I go in now? Can I go in now? You know, it's just that simple.
I don't know. Duggan just got his claws too deep in a lot of people. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good work, Nicole.
All right, bye-bye. Well, some of that I didn't know anything about. But to his point, like I said, and a lot of our people are not aware of what has happened and what is going on in this city. And I just don't know how we expect to have better leadership, to have more equity in this city. And I mean us, we are literally being alienated from resources and opportunities in this city. And one thing I will say, and I said this yesterday about Duggan, this whole, I called the mayor, I believe that, listen, whether I like who the mayor is or not, I do understand the role and the power of that position. What frustrates me is, even with all of his corruption, it's not just city council. I mean, my goodness, how many more? He's being investigated by the FBI, the inspector general, the auditor general, and the attorney general of the state. Hello? He's only been there. It's only his second term. This is only Duggan's second term. And people act as if they should dismiss that part. So what you're saying is that type of behavior is acceptable to you. We all know why he has not been convicted. We know why he has not been convicted. There are two sets of rules, okay? And we know how far his connections go. So you have a corrupt executive branch. and a corrupt legislative branch. How do you say you want better for this city? Our babies are being slaughtered in the streets because we don't have an administration that is willing to step up and to ensure that they increase sustainability in communities, to ensure that the dollars that are going towards public safety actually go toward, are allocated in areas where we can increase public safety. They don't care. I told you a couple of weeks ago how I went to a rally to stop killing our babies. And I'm not someone who just becomes numb to the conditions and to the actions that are happening in our city. But I will be honest with you. I was shocked at the number of children that we have lost in the last couple of years. And we don't have an administration that cares at the executive or the legislative branch overall. Like, doesn't that matter to you? Instead, we have a legislative branch where the supermajority, despite all that's happening here, they continue to alienate the majority of our people from having access to affordable housing. Not because Detroit can't afford to have real affordable housing, but simply because it does not fit into the paradigm and to the agenda of what corporations and what the mayor has for this city. That's why. We have a super majority of city council that has sat here and has voted against Detroiters having access to real, affordable, clean water. Like, how much more low down can you get to not want your people to have access to clean, safe, and affordable water when the money is on the table, when the contracts are on the table to upgrade the infrastructure, when there's an opportunity and a plan in place that has been presented to you to not only ensure that Detroiters have access to clean, safe, affordable water, but this plan will generate revenue for the city and jobs for Detroiters. They have that right in their hands. And what do? They push it down the table. This is the majority of the legislative branch. Those are the criminal acts to me before the feds come into place. But what they're not going to do is tell DTE, tell Great Lakes Water Authority, who I believe still owe us some money, tell Dan Gilbert, tell Maddie Maroon, tell all of these developers who are coming in here, and I support real development, but not at the expense of pillaging off of the people who live here. It does not have to be that way, is what I'm trying to explain to you. The fact that they continue on this path shows that they have no respect or no regard for the people of Detroit. When you know better, you're supposed to do better. When you have access to resources to improve the quality of life for Detroiters and you don't do it, what does that say about you? What does that say about you? But what does that say about us? Because see, there's a large portion of Detroiters who don't really know that this is going on. So some of you will listen to this show. Some of you watch City Council. You do. You're following along. Some of you actually read these news articles that are coming out. But are you sharing this information? You have to understand that everyone who is voting for these corrupt elected officials is not because they really know what they're doing. That's why it's up to us to share it. It's just as simple as that. You don't have the leadership from back in the day where you had the city government along with the nonprofits, along with the churches, along with the grassroots leaders. At least we're all on one accord, which was take care of our people. And I'm not saying that they didn't do any shady business, okay? But overall, the supermajority of Detroiters were doing well. They just were. And people, you know, what's that sermon or that they talk about? Who in the hell left the gate open? Well, hell, they left the gate open for everybody else. Now they done locked us out on the other side. That's the reality of what's happening. And I've never seen such a group of people that you have to convince that they being beat upside the head, like when you got lumps and bruises all over, right? And then you have to convince them that here's your opportunity to listen, forget the opportunity to have better. This your opportunity to tell these people, heck no. Why would you want to allow for these people to stay here and to do this to you? And the bottom line is you have very few options of an alternative. Now that's our fault, and I always say that. That's the people's fault that we haven't been building people up in the pipeline. I always say that. And as a people, we should take ownership of that. This is why there are so many opportunities for people who we have seen, not the new people who you don't know too much about, but the people who have proven to us over and over again that, listen, they don't have our best interests at heart. Or even some of those that you kind of look at sideways, they have such a great opportunity to be elected. It's because we don't do what we're supposed to do, which is right now, are we like building up leadership for 2025 for city council? Nope, not really. But we tired of it though. But we sick and tired. You know why? Because we can't unify even around this election. That's going to be the downfall of our community and politics, is that we can't unite. But I'll say this. The reason why corruption seems to be a leading factor in some of the top candidates is because we have allowed it. It's because we have allowed it. You know, what happened to sticking your chest out to know your worth and know that you deserve better? Just don't see too much more of that anymore. I mean, as much as I disagree with what the administration, this current administration does, they only could do what we allow. But if we don't come together collectively, we're allowing them to continue to do that, to do us a disservice. That's the beginning and the end of it. And we make up a lot of excuses for people so we could justify why we're voting against our own interests. We do a lot of that. But again, we just had $1 billion on the table. Do you know how many other communities would not stop talking about that? How we just had $1 billion on the table. And they sat in our faces. Under federal investigation and all, they sat right in our faces. And just voting to hand it over. That part of it. That's a lot of nerve. How we sit in a city right now, and you have the Detroit Regional Chamber of Business who endorsed 2 men, Hector Santiago and Coleman Young Jr., and you didn't endorse one sister. This is the regional chamber. But we allow that. We allow that. We allow that chamber to sit downtown and they didn't endorse any sisters. Unless now they're going to add another one. I mean, I know it won't be me. But I want you to think about how we get here. We are going to allow in 2021 for the Detroit Chamber, with all of the benefits that they get from this city, to not endorse one woman for city council. See, they'd have been better off just endorsing one person if that would have been a man. But for you to go and endorse 2 men, how Hector get on that list is what I'm really trying to figure out. Hector, I'm going to have to call you. Boy, things sure enough changing for you. But I'm going to wait to hear your side. You want to mail it with Duggan and the chamber endorsed you? You do need money to run a campaign. Coleman Young has name recognition, and he does have experience in a legislative body at the state level as a legislator. But don't forget, if it's the chamber, then it's Duggan. And so you endorse 2 men. 2 men. They were safe, though, not to endorse ML Elric, right? Because then that just really would have been a whole other can of worms. But you don't endorse one woman. Now, one woman. You had a sister running in 7. You had a sister. Let's just go down the line. You have this sister running at large. You have a sister running in 1. You have a sister running in 2. You have a You have a sister running in 4. You have a sister running in 5. You have a sister running in 6. And on this Michigan Chronicle ad, this is what it says. Let me pull this up because you know I like to bring you the facts. Where is that? Oh, here it is. A city council you can count on. Yep. The Detroit Regional Chamber. That's what it says. I don't know. I'll try to. Okay, wait. Oh. Okay, now you can see it. A city council you can count on. Detroit Regional Chamber. Vote November the 2nd. Just 2 brothers, and that's it. In 2021, I don't even see Black women up in arms. Even the Black women who are in high-level executive positions, shouldn't that bother you? But then when Trump run, you want to talk all of this glass ceiling stuff about women and equity. I just need people to be consistent, because I am consistent, whether you like it or not. But then you want to push all of that to us and bully us. I wasn't voting for Trump anyway, don't get me wrong. But do you see how people will go all out and use all kind of resources to pressure you into a commitment, which is supposed to be towards a certain standard, right? So if that's the standard, is that we need equity around women in politics and in corporate America. Well, this is the chamber. That's basically corporate America. And then it's politics, which is the city council. Where's all the hell raising about that is what I want to know. So the chamber gets to sit downtown. And in 2021, after all of this uproar about how we needed a woman to be the vice president of the United States of America, I mean, they were spewing it out. And I mean, even white women came together. Where's all of the uproar about sisters not even being endorsed by the regional chamber? Right here in Detroit, when Black and brown women are the super majority. But do you see when they're allowed to treat us this way? This too is a part of the takeover. This is an issue. Or is there a women's chamber that we don't know about? Is there a women's section? Maybe this is the men's section. Is there a women's section that we don't know about? I'm just asking. Because I'm not, invited or involved, with the intricate details of the processes for the chamber. So do they have a separate section for women? But they didn't endorse a sister. And you're saying that this is the city council that the city can count on? Let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago when Dan Gilbert was telling us what Detroit really looks like, and it didn't look like us. It didn't look like us. And they could use Hector and Coleman today, but you better believe they get away with this. Those faces gonna change real soon about a city council that you can count on. This is just a test pilot. Because women, especially Black women, are the largest voting bloc in the city of Detroit. And for all of our contributions to the economy in this city, You mean to tell me that the Detroit Regional Chamber, while they sitting up there in Mackinac right now, you didn't endorse one woman for city council? Hoo-wee! In 2021. Just something for you to think about. It's not getting better. And come to think of it, where them sisters on city council right now? Why you not up in arms about this? Because y'all work with the chamber. Y'all work with the chamber. It must be bad for Janae that they didn't endorse her, because you know they love them some Janae. That's going to be hands down. And she could say something about it. She's still collecting a paycheck from the citizens of Detroit. I'm quite sure she got a lot on her plate. All of them. Her, Jones, Ward, Lopez, and Sheffield. How are you not up in arms about this? Not one woman has been endorsed by the Detroit. Boy, we have a lot of work to do. But we first need to decide what it is that we really want. If you really want change, there are sacrifices that have to be made. There's work that has to support that. There's a strategy that has to support that. We can't be all over the place, which we are. You can't rely on one or two people to solve all the ills of the city of Detroit. But I am telling you now, as passionate as I am about Detroiters deserving better, as passionate as I am about getting in there to serve the best interest of you, it can't just be the few of us. Absentee ballots have been mailed out. Another round is going out next week. No, tomorrow. Another round is going out tomorrow. Can you at least call your aunties, your grandmother, your mother, your sisters? You know they gonna vote. And your brothers and your friends. Tell them they need to vote. If they need an absentee ballot application, if you know you can't trust to rely on them to go to the polls on November the 2nd. Now, y'all, you know what I'm talking about. Some of our people, we know that we can't get them that much time. We can't get them another 40-some days and trust that they're going to make it to the polls. Then let's get them an absentee ballot application, or let's get them to early voting. But early voting doesn't start for another couple of weeks. So if they need an absentee ballot application, they can reach out to 313-451-2228. They can. We will get them an absentee ballot application. We need people to vote, and we need them to vote for change. You need to vote for people who want to make change, not running for a job. It's a difference. There's a distinct difference. But that's the only way that we're going to win. It's the only way that we're going to win. And if we don't, my life is not going to fall apart. Some other people's lives are not going to fall apart. But some of us will really be disheartened, because we know what this will mean for the citizens of Detroit. And I just don't want to see that happen. I don't. Some things will continue because it takes time, but there are some things that we can stop abruptly. And that's what we need to get to. That's the reason that you should support this campaign, and you should support other campaigns that are aligned. This is your last chance. They have a plan for us. I keep telling you, that master plan that they have downtown. It's something. It's something, and it's not good. It's definitely not equitable. I know this is an election year, so you'll see a lot of promotions coming from this administration, assistance with eviction prevention. But I think what people don't realize is last year, there was more than $30 million put out of the CARES Act funds, in addition to the other money that the Detroit Housing Commission already had to prevent eviction. How did that work out? Then we received ARPA money. How is that working out? It's just a game. So I hope that, you know, some of our Detroiters really do receive the funds that they need to prevent eviction. And these landlords need some help too. You know, I know it's a big fight right now with people saying nobody should be evicted, but landlords are small business owners too. Why is that the framing of it, instead of ensuring that some of this money come through here goes to supplement what the tenants can't pay, to pay the landlords? Because in a minute, the landlord's gonna get put out of their own house. That's what's gonna happen. But I just don't want you to be bamboozled by, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and this ribbon cutting, and you know, we want to keep Detroiters in their home temporarily. Temporarily. Just like we're gonna stop water shutoffs temporarily. Do you notice it always comes around when it can benefit him? Never said he was stupid. He's very methodical in his approach. And I say, take it. You don't want to be put out on the streets, take it. But that shouldn't influence you to sabotage your own interests and vote against your interests. It's not even like it's his money, like that he went to go and get, is what I want you to know. It's what he should have been doing. The same man who created such a high percentage of renters, the same man who created such a high level of people who can't afford to live here, is now going to be your savior. Think about that. It's only on his terms to benefit him, and he's just seeking to win re-election in November, and he'll be right back to, well, he has never really stopped, but what the mayor says goes, because he has a supermajority of city council. They're not going to tell you that this is only a front. So I do want you to take advantage of these opportunities. Get the relief that you can get, because they're not providing you the real relief that you deserve, which is to be able to have a more affordable lifestyle in the city. That's never on the table. It's always a temporary solution to get you by for a few months or whatever. But your circumstances really don't change. And that's the problem. So this is the end of the show. I have to go. I appreciate you all. Again, phone banking today. If you want to phone bank either from home or come to the office, call 313-410-7874, 313-410-7874, or you can inbox me on Facebook or text me. You guys have this number, 313-451-2228. I appreciate all of you so much. Be safe this week. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Thank you.